Hello and welcome to the Aetherius Society, where you join Jack Stafford and Deborah Littleboy, members of the Aetherius Society, the cosmic religion for the Aquarian Age, as we break down the barriers between religion, science, metaphysics, philosophy, and mysticism, all of which are really only aspects of the self-same quest for truth. Please note this is an independent program, not produced or fact-checked by the Aetherius Society. Today, my guest is Nomandi Ellis. Hi, Nomandi.
Hi, thank you.
So I came across you from Quest magazine, the Theosophical Society.
Yes, I've been publishing with them since 1991 or so. So, yeah.
You're a prolific writer. I see. I'm on your website now, looking through many books. You've. Well, maybe you could just introduce yourself for people that aren't familiar with your work.
Okay. Let's see. I began my quest into the magic, metaphysics, and mysticism of ancient Egypt when I was in graduate school studying English literature, and took an English translation class from English to something else. And I didn't have a third language, which he said, well, what looks interesting? I said, hieroglyphs. So, because I always thought I would be either a writer or a painter. So hieroglyphs intrigued me. But I had been given a book of hieroglyphs by a friend with this particular translation. So that's what started it. And that's a long story, which we can go into later. But since then, I've been leading trips to Egypt. People have invited me to come and present. And eventually, I was ordained as a priestess of Isis through Lady Olivia Robertson at the Fellowship of Isis. I've led many trips through Egypt, about twice a year, through a company called Two Ladies Travel. And I've written like 16 books, maybe, starting with Awakening Osiris, which was just reprinted with a new edition. And then the most recent book that's not a reprint is the book, The Ancient Tradition of Angels, which is a departure from all of the books on ancient Egypt that I've done, because I was getting my PhD from All Faiths Seminary, and they said, well, you've written so much on Egypt, it's not fair for you to just do another book on Egypt for your dissertation, so pick something different. And I said, well, all the religions that I know and love believe in angels. And so that's where I went with that.
That's primarily what attracted to us, because we look for parallels between the teachings of Dr. King and the Aetherius Society is primarily our audience. And yeah, angels. So I was attracted to that quote from Ronnie Pontiac.
Yeah.
She writes, I discover primarily that angels are a state of consciousness. Could you elaborate on that?
Oh, well, I think that they are. I think that it's a matter of, if you study quantum physics and quantum mechanics, you understand how everything is connected to everything else, and that nothing exists except by a thought. Okay. Only Mary Oliver, a poet, says, only if you believe in angels will you ever see one. But it's that connection, it's that consciousness that pulls us together. It is the idea that no things that have ever been created at any one time. So God created the angels, and then he created us, and all of us were created of light. Both beings were created of light. If it's ever been together, it can never be separated, no matter time or space. It's all still connected by no more than a thought.
Okay. Because in the Aetherius Society, we believe in the ascended masters, which you could term angels. I mean, they fit the bill pretty well.
Yeah, they do. They pretty much do. And when I was looking at the angels and what we traditionally in the Judeo-Christian consider angels, in the Eastern tradition, they're ascended masters. They're Dakini. They are devas, but they are still the beings of light and forms of thought.
because we have this book that was channeled through Dr. King called The 9 Freedoms. And the first 3 steps are bravery, love, and service. And then next one's enlightenment, cosmic consciousness, and ascension. So raising of Kundalini, all these experiences.
Right.
Once you're ascended, then you can choose to stay in this world in the great hierarchy of Earth, or you can go on to another planet, to another classroom, and learn there. And so we believe that these ascended masters who envisage the Theosophical Society, for example, they are workers. I mean, Saint Germain is a good example.
Yes.
Of, the masters KAH. So I don't think there's very many of them.
Yeah.
I don't know how many. Yeah, there's not many of them.
Yeah.
But these are about as high. Maybe also there could be lower, because the realms, each chakra is a realm of consciousness, and when you die, you go to a different realm of existence, and you're able to. The higher you go, the more ability you have. You're able to come back and communicate with people. So that could also, do you think, perhaps be classed as angels?
Yeah, I think so. One of the things that I understood as I was going through what we call the hierarchies of angels and all the various traditions, I discovered that they were not necessarily higher, meaning better. It just means on a different plane, in a state of being. So yeah, it doesn't. I don't know that I would tell people that. Oh yeah, this is a higher being than this other higher being. Because they all have their jobs and functions, and they just function on different levels. In the same way that we have a physical body and an etheric body and a mental body and a spiritual body, and they're not necessarily higher because they're all operating all at once. And if any one part of the system isn't operating, you're, not fully plugged in. But I don't think that one is better than the other. It's not. I resist saying that the spiritual world is better than the physical world, because the physical world is just as spiritual as a spiritual world. The problem is that so many people don't see it. They do not understand that you are participating in the thought body of God, which is creating a physical world.
Yes. Have you seen that movie? Are you in the spiritualist, the same as the Brazilian religion? There is I think the number one religion in Brazil is spiritualism. And I've seen
Yes.
I've seen this movie, Astral City.
Yeah, I haven't seen the movie. That sounds good, though. I'll watch it and see what I think.
Yeah, it really put it across clearly. I've had it explained to me, but because when you say spirit world, you think people kind of cloud-shaped people floating around. But
yeah, no, not necessarily.
Yeah, it can be. It's as physical as here. There could be cars there, factories, bicycles. It's just at a different frequency. So people manifest there what they want. And the same as the people do here. Just here we have to do it materialistically, but there you can do it through the imagination. Let me bring in Deborah, who's just joined us. Hi, a little
Deborah.
bit late.
I see you popped in.
I'm so sorry that I'm late. I thought I'd finished for today. But
well, I surprised you. Apparently I didn't get the reminders in time to let you know I was coming.
Not for me. Real pleasure. Can I give an off the wall question here?
Sure.
Can you tell me what you've found out about the Peacock Angel? Because that's been one of my long quests to actually try and put that angel in its place. A long line of Adams, as I understand it, and some people said that it was a devil angel, and some others was like it was the archangel of all angels, and just so yes, please, if anything that you can give me.
Yeah, I think you touched on everything that has been said about the Peacock Angel, and the Peacock Angel, of course, is part of the I believe I'm saying this correctly, Yazidi tradition or Yazidi tradition.
Yeah.
And they are a people who live below Mount Ararat, where Noah's Ark landed. And they believe Noah was part of their group. Sometimes they tell people that they are Sufis. Sometimes they tell people that they are Islamists, but they are neither. They're a separate group. They are not a people of the book because they do not read or write, except in the modern day where they're being taught now to read or write after they've been rescued from extermination. But their premier angel is Tos Melech, who is the Peacock Angel. And Tos Melech, I would say he's not just like a high angel like Michael, but he is considered a creator angel in their tradition. And and he made the angels below him, 7 angels below him. We'll call it below him. They're like archangels. They are reincarnated beings as ascended masters who come into existence in the community as sheikhs. They are a Tos Melech, the Peacock Angel, is similar to the Peacock Angel in the Hindu and tradition, the Peacock Deva in the Hindu tradition. Now, some people will tell you that devas are devils because that's what the word sounds like. So that's what they shifted into, a deva and a devil. It's not true. And so he got rounded up into the devil deva clan, but he is a very different being than any other angel that I studied, and probably the most fascinating, I think. There is a woman, let me see if I can find her name. Oh gosh, she's very well versed. She's gotten out of Afghanistan, where that area where they were, and she's now gotten her PhD. She's teaching. Let me see if I can find her name. Just a moment. I have to look all this stuff up.
Well, while you're looking that up, I'm going to, if you can look and listen at the same time.
I can, yes.
What you've just described, or what I've made a connection with, is that in one of our teachings given by the Master Jesus is a practice called the 12th Blessings. And it goes up, and the 12th blessing is to the absolute. So the everything of all, the source of all. And we are told that the source of all is a brain surrounded by 7 supreme lords of creation. So in this is the part that's in manifestation. So we have this master brain, which I would equate to the Peacock Angel, and surrounding that entity is the most highest evolved parts before we go back to the unmanifested, and we call it, or Master Jesus calls them, the supreme lords of creation, which are half in and half out of manifestation. Yes. So they are the preservers and the creators of everything that is. Now that sounds to me, in my sort of primitive Janet and John putting red bricks with red bricks, that sounds similar to what you've just described on.
I think so too, and I think that the other thing that's about that tradition is it's very, very similar to Zoroastrianism, which is I'll say black and white were all created at the same time. the great creative being has a use for what we would consider dark energy, because it's the unmanifest as well as the manifest, And so, by the way, her name is Esther Spat, Spat.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and she's fabulous. She is fabulous.
Do you know her
Yeah, the
personally?
manifest and the unmanifest, the all and the nothing is part of all it is.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? When you look at with it and with a broader eye, you can see the links. It's just different words, different ways of describing, and what you've also said, of course, the Peacock Angel, going into the Hindu tradition, we've seen on all of the pictures of Sri Krishna that he wears a peacock feather in his headdress, so almost like at his highest point, he displays a peacock feather. I find that quite fascinating too.
Yeah. Isn't there a Mercadon? Isn't that a peacock angel as well? A blue manifested peacock angel, a Mercadon. I think that's Murgadan, I think. I don't know if it's Buddhist or Hindu, but
I don't know. I've not come across that at all.
There's a lot of angels.
But I think that. Yes, say again.
There's a lot of angels, and like you said, they're the same ones being identified, given different names in different traditions.
I think so. I think they're the same ones that are being identified. I don't think the angels go away. I think what goes away is our complete understanding of what they are. And so we are. What is the most fascinating thing that I learned in studying angels was something called the 5 M's. And every religion is built upon the 5 M's. There's the message and the medium. So that's and the messenger. So the messenger is the angel. The medium is the prophet who receives it. And then there's the message from the angel, like Jibreel delivering the Quran to Muhammad. So that's 3 parts of it. And then it's the message is given a meaning to an audience. And then the original prophet dies, and it's just picked up by a follower and encapsulated into, oh, this is what it means. It becomes interpreted, and then it starts fractaling.
Chinese whispers.
Yeah, like whispers. Right. Mm-hmm. And so it becomes disintegrated. The message becomes impure after that. And so it's hard for organized religions to keep the true message between the messenger and the medium.
Yeah. And I think that's, well, from my stance, that is why I was so grateful to find the Aetherius Society, because the medium, our master, Dr. George King, was able to get himself into the highest states, the purest states, to actually bring those messages in. And he got them recorded in the 50s and 60s, well, actually even later, but mostly 50s and 60s, but managed to get the very best recording equipment available then. So we can now listen or read not only what was written verbatim, but we can also hear the vibration of the communicator. And I think that helps.
How lovely.
That certainly helps me with my understanding of it, because at some subliminal level, I can, like a sponge, soak in the meaning.
The vibration of the words. Yeah,
words are quite clumsy.
Yeah, the vibration itself. Yeah. The vibration is part of the medium. Yeah. Mm. The tone, it holds all of the, I was going to say it holds all of the message itself, but it's the compassion and the way in which it's delivered is through that.
Mm-hmm. That. Yeah, absolutely.
Vibration. And when there's some, someone pounding the pavement, and rah, 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 it's like, I don't get it. I'm sorry, that's not the vibration I work on. You know, I work on a loving kindness vibration. And when you can hear that in the message, it's beautiful. It's very beautiful.
And we know that from, we've had very few messages from the planet Saturn, which we're told is the most evolved planet in our solar system. And the angel, so we use the same, the angel that speaks through, the master which speaks through, is so full of compassion. You can it sounds like a very, very old voice. It's like it's like somebody that really has lived it, done it, seen it, understood it, and loves you anyway. And so for me, that is so much more than and the words are beautiful, but the words that are written, to have those two things conjunct is a real gift. I mean, it's beautiful.
Yes, and astrologically, Saturn is the planet of the teacher. So, yeah, and Saturn is also called a hard planet because the lessons don't change. It's just the way we acquire the information. We can either get it the hard way, or, you know, we can take it in through the heart.
Yeah. We're told that it's some law and structure.
That's law and structure. That's right. Yes.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Did you ever think of, because you've spent your whole life, is it fair to say, studying Egypt and the ancient teachings, Nomandi? Is it fair to say that, well, do you think you were reincarnated from that period? Do you think we all are? I mean, we must have lived at that time. We're in this.
From the Egyptians?
Yeah, you've been in an Egyptian. You lived at that time.
Yeah, I think I remember being an Egyptian more than I remember being anything else. And I attribute that to the fact that vibrationally, there's a lot of sand in Egypt, which is crystalline structure, and it records a lot of the thought and the essence of what was Egypt. And I believe that that's what I'm picking up on. When I read that, that's what I feel in my body, the thought and the sand and the structure of the stories of ancient Egypt. I'm very much connected to it. Whether I had past lives there or whatever, I would say some of my DNA has been blown in from the Sahara Desert, you know, and incorporated into this physical form, because I certainly resonate with those stories.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking that we all must have, because it was there for a long time, and we've all been, you know, we're all interested in this stuff. So, you know,
5,000 years.
Yeah. So we forget. So the pretty odds are we were there. I mean, the three of us, and so we're still in this unconscious state of life after life, remembering only, you know, as in habits and improving our personality, you could say. But these angels or ascended masters, or, you know, they've broken the reincarnation of the unconscious cycle, and so they are, watching down on us or helping us throughout the ages, but they remain the same.
Yes,
not forever. Yes. Eventually, they will move on as well, but because the time applies to it in a different way to them, they're watching over us.
Right. I remember one of the things that fascinated me when I was studying the angels was reading about Edgar Cayce's study groups with the angels.
Oh, yeah?
And he worked mostly with the angel Michael, and it was Michael who would deliver most of the messages. And then one day, this other angel showed up. His name was Haliel. And Haliel was the messenger of the hard way. He gave pretty apocalyptic views of things and talked to people about, this is the karma that we're reaping right now. We need to do this. We need to do that. And the people came to Edgar Cayce and said, tell him he can't come back. He's upsetting some of the people in the group. It's like, well, so much about, you know, kill the messenger who brings bad news, you know. But that is true. So many people only want the message that gives them ease and hope. They have a resistance to hearing, now don't do this, and I think a lot of the stuff that we remember from Egypt, people say, oh, I had a terrible life there. Well, we've all had terrible lives. We may have had some terrible lives there, but what did you learn?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
that
got us
becomes
where
the
we are
question.
today. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
interesting.
what
Dr.
did you
King said
learn?
Dr. King met many years because he could leave the body, he could project, and he could go to the highest realms, and he could walk through the cathedrals there. He could go to Shambhala in his etheric body, and so he met these people, and they all have personalities. They're all people, but okay,
Right.
they're mainly men much more evolved than us. He said he never met a saint. He said they're all,
Isn't that a comforting thought?
It is in a way. Not for it's hardly it's for he could say that, but I can't really say that. But another point is that you get, like, use the example of Edward Casey. One day another person could get through. You get people on your level, not every medium. Mediums can get your Uncle Fred and your Aunt Billy, Aunt Betty,
Right.
but
Right.
you get people on your level. Dr. King did 10 years advanced yoga training to be able to handle the energy from people who are manifesting
The higher
around.
energy.
Yeah, so you
Right.
can't just. So I'm sure once these, like Edgar Casey, people were queuing up to try and get through him because everyone wants to get their message through. Dr. King tried to get his message through to people on the lower realms. So he used a medium on the lowest realms, and what did he say, Deborah? He could get through like 10% of what he was trying to say,
at best, and just have to keep going, and the message got so distorted. And he said it was particularly difficult to try and get messages through to people that had abused substance misuse and alcohol, because it really marks up all of the neural pathways, and
it's consciousness. So if you've been messing around and mucking up the consciousness, even if you are meditating in ways that are inappropriate, we'll say, that mucks up the consciousness. And so you have to be a very clear channel when you're receiving messages like that. Yeah, I agree with you.
A lot of people don't like to think that you're punished if you do drugs, or you're punished when you go to the next realm. But it's not punishment. It's like you say, you've damaged your etheric structure. You have 7 bodies. You damage this one. A lot of our illnesses are because they manifest in our aura before they manifest on the physical. So it's just metaphysics.
Right. And it takes a while. I mean, once you pass into spirit, you have an opportunity to regenerate, but that's not going to be immediate. So you'll have an opportunity to relearn and reintegrate those things that you need in order to communicate on a higher level, but you won't have them right away,
Yeah. And there are hospitals on the other realms that you could get help, but
yes, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, but it's not. You can't make people. Some people think when you die, you suddenly become higher, more intelligent, or more.
Right.
Yeah, but it's still the same schmuck.
Right. And I think I disappoint a lot of people when they say, "Oh, so and so died. Well, they were so good on this earth. They're probably an angel." I'm like, probably not. That's like saying a piece of broccoli is probably a carrot.
Yeah, but they might be able to come back through a medium and tell you that it's about to rain and your washing's on the line. When you might be able to get a message through of that caliber. Yeah, which is
useful
great.
messages. They can be useful messages.
Sure, and I think the most useful thing about those messages, like if you like the common ground in the spiritualist church, is that it proves to people that life goes on. And a lot of people, I mean, I find this quite shocking, really. A lot of people aren't quite sure that that's the truth, because we've got this whole condition and it's been taken out, and we've been, been brainwashed to have that essential part of who we are taken away. And when you give it to people and like offer that as a truth, because of course you can only ever offer, they look at you as if you've been playing with the theories for too long. It's yeah, it's
Right.
it's a slow process. This evolving, everybody. It's a slow process. Whatever works, use.
Yeah. I do find a lot of comfort in the idea that to some degree there are do-overs, that we get to figure out what we've done. We get to go into a kind of place where our understanding is shifted because our perspective is, I'm going to say, higher, like a bird's perspective is higher, and we can look back and say, oh, yeah, that was not a good thing, or, so-and-so. So I think that that's good. I think that people need to understand that there is no condemnation that lasts forever. It's not like in the ancient Egyptian idea where if you've committed a sin, this crocodile, hippopotamus, lion god is going to eat your heart and that's it. It's not like that.
Do you think the Egyptians got a lot wrong then? I mean,
A little bit. I think they had fear like everyone.
yeah.
They had fear like everyone. And that was something that created fear for people so that they wouldn't do the bad things.
Do you think they were they could be manipulated by, as we are manipulated today, by, hands unseen, by,
Yes.
let's say, descended masters, if we can use that term?
By hands unseen, yes, I think so.
Do you think it
I
was the
think-
same then? I mean, people preserving their bodies so they stay and they have more of an influence over the physical. Is that?
Well, there definitely was the idea that if you could preserve the body and preserve the consciousness that was in the body at the time of its death and have a vehicle for moving back and forth between the worlds, that you could pass messages, information from the etheric world into the physical world and let people know what was going on. A lot of people that were kings wanted to reincarnate and have their bodies kept, preserved, so that they could come and go. There was this whole shamanic process of coming and going up and down the ladder of consciousness, like the angels ascending and descending the ladder. And they would allow themselves to come and go and talk to Metatron and figure out, okay, this is what's going on, and bring that message back down, bring the message down from their physical ancestors even, who were sitting with Metatron in some way, and bring it back down to the current living king and talk to him in a dream and say, this is what we need to do, and so that's how they did it. And that's what they believed they could do. And it was very much a shamanic rite and a shamanic passage to go up and down the ladder.
Dr. King had an altercation, shall we say, or a battle with the individual who was responsible for the death of Jesus. 2,000 years later, he was still in the same physical body. So
Yeah.
these people can and do
Yes.
carry on their influence.
Yes.
Because if there are angels, there are also,
We'll call them dark angels.
dark angels.
The winged, the dark ones that fly with dark wings. Yeah. And there are plenty of those, they have their purposes.
Yeah.
We would not understand Jesus's message nearly so much as we do now had he not died in the way that he did. There was, now that's probably blasphemous to say to some people, but there was a purpose in his death. There was a purpose in his death, and he knew what it was. And he said, thy will be done. And I believe that, so a dark angel, I would say, was part of his demise, but he was stronger than that. He was much
Well,
stronger than that.
We have a great story about that, don't we, Deborah? Do you want to tell how Master Jesus came and
Oh,
decided?
yeah.
He
Let's
came.
hear
Sorry,
it.
what?
Well, we believe that the Master Jesus was from Venus and incarnated through the womb of a woman to manipulate karma, take on karma, and he came to die at a specific point in time, because that manipulated karma, there was some foreseen tragedy that was going to set mankind back.
Natural phenomena, some dreadful natural disaster that the karma needed to be shifted for. And that was his main mission, to come and to
Right.
die. Secondary, because they always come with more than just one job, if you like. The avatars, we've been told. The secondary thing was to teach the truth to people that were not very learned. So that's why he told in stories, because that was a way that people could understand what he was trying to say, and healing. So both of those, and to demonstrate the mystical possibilities of walking on water, bringing back the dead, manipulating of sacred energies, which he says that we all could do. These things that I do, you can do too. Or
Many yogis did those things before.
Right.
Walk on water. And...
Yeah.
Right.
So
That's right.
I think that's fabulous message, but it's got
It is.
distorted. And until I came into the society, I didn't fully realize any of that. But now
Right.
I've learned. Now reading the teachings, I understand the Bible better, because I've grown up a Christian. If I studied anything, it was the Bible, but not very deeply, I'd have to say. But now I understand the Bible a whole lot better, because I misinterpreted it. So we're back to that sort of Chinese whispers or interpretation on words, or fill in the gaps and getting join the dots in the wrong places, which is something that I'm incredibly good at, and I don't think I'm on my own in that department.
Yeah, no, we are.
Theme,
Yeah, I'm at fault of that too. I wanted to say something about what you just said, to go back to talk about how individuals are reincarnated according to karma. Okay, so it's kind of like a parable, but there's a story of a soul that needs to go back to Earth to learn a lesson, and has been disappointed in love, and was hurt very badly, and says, I don't want to go back. I'll just stay the way I am. Thank you. And so a little angel comes to him and goes, no, look, you need to go back so you can grow, and, so that your soul can have some understanding of what happened. And I tell you what, I'll come back and reincarnate with you so that you get it. And I promise you will get it, because I will be the one that hurts you so bad that you cannot almost forgive me. And another little angel overhears and says, oh, I want to come back too. I'll come back and hurt you just as badly as the first angel, so that you really do understand what has happened and can change your ways. And I thought, well, now there's a karmic lesson for you. It's like, so when someone says, why is this happening to me again? It's like, there's been another little angel around there somewhere.
Yeah, you didn't get it the last time, so we're having to hammer it a bit harder this time round. Yeah,
right. Yeah, but I think that's good. That's what we need. That is what we need.
Yeah. Well, we are told that the law of karma, which is God, it is God. Karma, the law of karma is God, is just. And it grinds very, very slowly but surely. And that for me, so we're told to be grateful for every experience that you get. Be grateful because you need it. And it's how you deal with it that really matters and makes you grow. But it's hard to be grateful if you've just fallen over and broken your ankle. It's really hard to be grateful for that. But we're told that the more we can,
right,
be grateful for everything and keep our vibrations higher, the better we will cope with everything. And I try to live by that. And I do believe things have got better since I've had that attitude.
Yes, yes.
But it takes a bit of reminding, though, sometimes.
Well, karma and
Yeah.
reincarnation are, if a child fails its exams at school, you don't out of sympathy promote it to the next year so it can suffer for a whole year not understanding anything. You just make it sit back, and if it really doesn't get it, send it back to the year below, so it can really come running. That's the way to understand karma and reincarnation. I think.
Aye. Oh, bless you.
A truth.
Bless
A truth. I sneeze when there's a truth.
you. Do you? That's interesting.
Yes. So, that word karma is very interesting to me. I play with language myself, and it's like, it's like ka in the Egyptian, which is spirit, and ma'a, or ma'ah, which is truth. It's the spirit of truth, karma.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
So
told
whether
that.
That's the way it goes or not, that's how I think of it.
Well, we're told that's how God manifests. It doesn't. That's how it. That's how you
Yes.
experience God. It's not. Nobody hears God. In that sense, you can hear an angel. You can hear your higher self. Probably, usually your higher self. Mostly, I listen to my lower self, unfortunately. But so
I
it's.
like the idea that karma is how we hear God.
Yeah.
That's really a very profound idea. I like that.
Yeah, because it's experience, isn't it? You actually experience it in all its forms.
Well, Dr. King said karma is. Dr. King said karma is pressure. He said that was one of the best definitions I've ever heard. The best definition, because it's pressure back to God. If you go further away, you gradually experience more pressure to push you back.
Pressure. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we've only got it's like a dog's lead, isn't it? They're one of those ones that the dog can go out so far and then runs out of string, and then so we're given a lot of leeway here to experiment, going away, turning away, but it gets to a certain point where it's not fun anymore, to go against the rules. I know from when I was working in the prison, and I used to listen to story after story from men that had lived very lives of free will. Let's put it that way. They did it their way. They gets to a point where it's not. They don't want to do it anymore. But then they've got a whole load of all the carnage that they've created. They have to then, put right they've got fears and all sorts of things, and they create this whole ecosystem around them, which they've got to a point where they don't want it anymore. But actually, they've got to go back the way they've come, putting all the toys back into the box again to make it, to get themselves to an even level. For me, that was one of my greatest learnings, to watch and listen to those stories of people that had gone against the rules.
I think one of the things in Jesus Christ Superstar that I so resonated with was the song where Christ says, "Take this cup away from me, for I don't want to taste its poison. Feel it burn me. I've changed. I'm not the same as when I started." And it was like, I can. That's just such a powerful prayer, and yet it's the cup we drink, because that's the karma we made.
And Dr. King would say many times, he'd say, don't pray to take away all of these lessons. Pray to have the strength to drink the cup of poison and be thankful for it.
Thank you. Yes, this is true. This is true. That's a hard thing to do. But it is the most powerful thing that we can do.
Because you wonder about these dark angels. They're in a sense, they're very, I want to say evolved, but they're involved. But they're very advanced. They've worked super hard. They've lived thousands of years. They have incredible abilities. I mean, when Satan was transmuted in the lower astral realms by the 6 adepts, then if he wasn't split up into, I think, 4,000 different consciousness.
I don't know how many people. I really don't know.
If he was reborn in full consciousness, he would, by the age of 16, would have taken over the world or something. And that was that powerful. But Dr. King wondered why they, with all their abilities, they didn't see. They couldn't just, because if once though one of those, eventually they do turn towards the light and they accelerate past many, shall we say, traditional spiritual people, because they're workers. They really, when they turn to the light, they go for it. So
right. One of the things that I've seen that is, so there was this painting that I saw, which was the angel of death coming to a woman who was sad and sitting on the side of the road and disheveled, and her child was dead in her arms. And she looks up into the face of this angel, and there's such an expression between the two of them. And she goes, "Oh, I've been waiting for you." And it's just takes your breath away, And so many stories of people who passed kicking and screaming, and people who said, "Oh, there you are," and just stepped into the arms of the angel. I hope when it's my time, I step into the arms of the angel,
mm.
Well, they do say that you should try to have a good death. So you should die in a healthy state if you want, because if you do go kicking and screaming or blown up by a bomb or in trauma, then that actually does go through the whole of your bodies and takes a lot to heal it.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
That's a coincidence. Just before I was coming on this show, I was reading this page, and a knowledge after the initiation of death. There's 2 ways if you have no knowledge of life after death, you experience these things. If you have a knowledge of death, it's a lot easier. If you've been educated and you're aware that there's life after death, it's a lot easier transition.
And where is this from?
This is from the mysticknowledge.org, Nehemiah Davis, who's
mystickknowledge.org. Okay. Can I look that up and find it online?
Yeah, I'll send it to you after the show. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. That would be great.
One of those synchronicities. All right. Well, I think we've come to the end of the show. So
I think we have. This was so much fun. I really enjoyed talking with both of you.
Yeah, thank you.
Wonderful.
I'm sorry I was late.
And how can people find all your books and keep in contact with you? How
they can, of course, they can find them on Amazon.com. Or they can write to my publisher, Inner Traditions, or they may find me at normandyellis.com. So, and they can also find about trips with me and so on.
Wonderful. Well, I'll definitely put that in the show notes, and people should.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Have a great day.
It was great seeing both of you.
It was a real pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye now.
Bye now.
And if people want to find more about the Aetherius Society, please go to aetherius.org. Bye-bye.